Hello, this is Lisa LaRose here on Connect to Love on PRN FM, and I am joined by Michael J. Rust, who makes every day amazing. Michael, I want to give you a big, huge welcome and say
love being here.
hello.
Always.
Yeah.
PRN FM is a great place to be.
It truly, truly is. So I have a question, Michael. Do you have a favorite pair of jeans?
Yeah, I'm wearing them.
Perfect.
Right now.
Perfect.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know me.
You know what they say.
The woman of wonder. Yeah. Go
that's
ahead.
very true. I think everybody has a favorite pair of jeans. And you know what's interesting? I've heard from several different sources that you should never wash your jeans. I'm like,
I don't know about
what are you
that.
talking about? Would never wash your jeans. I go to the barn in these things too. So you gotta wash them. But
yep.
I was told. Washing. Multiple washings over the course of time does happen to wear down the fabric, wears down the denim.
Yeah.
And,
well, I have a favorite pair of jeans, and they've been with me since high school. So that's how old my favorite pair of jeans are, and they're just as comfortable
I'm not going
whatever.
there. I'm not going to touch that one.
they've been washed, but
you're still wearing clothes since high school. That you wore in high school, really?
Yes, truly. I
wow.
know.
Okay.
Kind of funny. But that actually is part of why I'm asking the question, because it's about being true to me, being who I am authentically. I have not given up. Every time I look to see about getting rid of them, I just put them back in my drawer and pull them out when I want to be comfortable. So, but I was thinking about, and this is sort of goes, and it's kind of a roundabout way introducing the topic for today, but I was thinking about a pair of Levi's because that's what mine are. And I thought about the company Levi's and when they started. And it actually, the jeans go all the way back into the 1800s with Levi Strauss. And Levi Strauss was a Bavarian dry goods merchant who came to San Francisco in 1853 and had a wholesale dry goods business. Now, one of his customers happened to be a tailor named Jacob Davis. And one day, somebody that was just a local laborer asked Jacob if he could make a pair of pants for her husband that would not fall apart. Now, what he did was he decided to strengthen the pants using metal rivets at the points of strain. And out of that came the base of the button-fly jeans. And what's so interesting is the riveted pants, I don't think, were actually very comfortable, which I found to be quite interesting. But in 1873, Levi Strauss and Davis patented the jeans, which actually became the modern-day Levi's 501s. And back in the day, they called them XX, which was interesting because there was just a single back pocket, a watch pocket, and then a place for the suspender buttons. But really, that was the birthplace of the modern-day jeans. And it wasn't until the 1960s that they actually came up with that word jeans. But what I found so interesting is the jeans, really over the years haven't changed much. And it wasn't until probably, through the era, through the Depression, jeans sort of became a main staple. And what's interesting is no matter what it was within the Renaissance of American fashion, Levi's grew and grew and grew. And it was sort of interesting because I sort of, when I was thinking about Levi's as jeans and how they became kind of a standard for not just the United States, but all around the world, people have their favorite pair of jeans. But after Levi's, there was Wranglers and Lee and all these other designer brands and whatever, but it was all about being authentic to the brand. Levi's never went into trying to be a fancy designer brand with putting all kinds of decals and things like that. Yeah, they came up with some different styles and probably the bell bottom.
Yeah.
But they did. And I think that this is what my mindset was, that when you stay true to the original, it becomes comfortable. It becomes easy. It becomes relaxed. You put them on. There's a feeling when you get into your favorite pair of jeans. And I think that that's, to me, what being authentic is. It's stepping into your own skin and feeling good about it. It's feeling relaxed. It's going with the flow. You know that there's nothing, no surprises. No surprises. And, I thought it might be a fun thing to play with because, everybody from little kids up until, I think, grandparents, they, have some pair of jeans that are their absolute favorite. And I think it's just a fun way to kind of introduce what it really means to be authentic. And, yeah.
Although, I got to tell you, there's no way in the world I could fit into a pair of jeans from high school. I'm 40 pounds heavier than I was then, mostly muscle. I over time worked on my back and my gut and, a lot of things. And I was 135 pounds in high school.
You were very thin.
Let's jump up into the early low 180s right now. So, yeah, I was.
You grew up. You filled out.
Blossoming. I was blossoming, growing into myself, and I like to think that my spiritual growth has had just the same path, and that's authenticity. Yeah, that. I mean, even now, everybody has something. They have favorite clothes in their closet. I have my favorite pair of tennis shoes, Allbirds. I've got 3 pair of those. I wear them all the time. I like the fact that they're merino wool and the soles are made from recycled materials, and they're comfortable as all get out. The jeans as well. I have actually 2 pair of jeans. I do have a pair of actual dedicated barn jeans and work jeans that I wear around when I'm going to do something in the yard or going to go to the barn or whatever. And I have another pair of jeans that I wear, and if I'm going to go to dinner and I just want to, cash it out, I'll throw a pair of even sometimes dress shoes with them.
Sure.
A shirt, and you just everybody's got their favorite clothing. And mine just actually changed over my wardrobe into a lot of sort of slim stretch sort of fabric pants as well that I really like. They're very comfortable, and it's since I don't have to really dress up anymore in suits and ties, and haven't for 20 years. It's wardrobe has kind of changed in terms of individual authenticity. I'm very much hoping that. I don't necessarily follow a pattern of. I'm not attempting to be like somebody else, and I think authenticity is really not being, not wanting to or seeking to be like someone else, which is really what is sold in our society. Sold is, somebody else is doing this, and so they're doing it. You need to do it. And something that I found very interesting. There's a council, a design council that gets together every year, the year before the next year comes, and they decide what the colors are going to be in fashion. I found that interesting. I didn't know that until I saw this thing. I said, a council? A bunch of designers and everybody get together, and designers from all walks of life get together and decide, orange is the next big thing, for next year. And I'm going, what? So, I didn't do my colors that way. I actually kind of had my colors done by a guy out of Canada about 12 years ago. And his name's not coming to mind, but I'll have to look it up and have it for the next show. However, he told me what my complementary colors were, what my main colors were based on my skin tone, my spiritual side, my this, my that. Basically, he went into a lot of different things. And so I kind of use that as a base, a foundation, and then kind of branch out from that. And I don't really follow fashion trends. I find that that is kind of, because they change every year.
Right.
And it's an inauthentic, in my view, an inauthentic way to live is to seek to coordinate and to correspond and live by something that is actually outside of you instead of what you're feeling inside. Like if someone said, if all of a sudden somebody said jeans are out, and they're spreading that message around in ads and all these things, and you're going like, wait a minute, I like my favorite pair of jeans. Would you rebel? Yep. They said, okay, denim's out, chino's in, right? Yep. And that's the way they're selling kind of the new kinds of pants right now for men, I know, is very comfortable, very relaxed, not jeans, right? And that's fine. You can have some of those. However, you've always got to have your go-tos.
Yeah. Well, no, it's so easy breezy, don't you think? I mean, you put on a pair of jeans, and sometimes, and I think it's got to be I'd love to give the person credit, the first person who said, jeans are not just for casual wear. I'm going to put a sport coat on with them and some cowboy boots.
Beautiful.
And go out and feel great about it. Yep.
I do it. It's the way to be you. You can dress up a pair of jeans and just about anything. I'll wear a custom, tailored shirt with them, and again, a pair of nice Italian mocks or something that I really enjoy that are very comfortable. I don't have to put on any socks. I just slip the mocks on underneath my straight leg jeans, and I'm put a nice belt on and that matches, and whatever colorful shirt I can come up with. I've got a lot of them in the wardrobe. I like the colors.
And don't forget your dynamite smile that goes along with it.
And it leads me into a room, and it's wonderful when I come across people that I resonate with. And it was kind of interesting. I have to tell you this quick little story about the authentic. I like teppanyaki. Okay, Japanese teppanyaki, style, cooked right in front of you in a Japanese style restaurant. And we went to we were in Biloxi, Mississippi, at the Beau Rivage, and their restaurant Gia has has two tables in the back. And there was only two tables, but there were only two couples in 16 seats, right? So I'm going, what the heck? What is this all about? So we come in there and we see this other couple sitting on the far end of the table, right? They're the only people there. So we're like, let's make some new friends. So we went and sat right next to them. You. So it's just the two of us, right? And we ended up having a great conversation and became fast friends, and it's really funny. We ran into him one other time, and the next night we ran into him in the next restaurant that we went to, because we'd known that they were going to be going there, so we had a reservation there too. So we saw him last night as well, and just a great couple, just really wonderful, warm people, and I just love it. I like making friends, and when we go to Columbia, South Carolina, before we go, we'll look them up. We'll have dinner, and let them kind of give us a lay of the land a little bit, and because we know people up in that area now, so it's really fun. It's really fun is to just get out of your uncomfort zone, and actually go take a risk and meet somebody new. And,
but that's who you are, Michael. That's being authentic and living your life according to your own values. And you enjoy embracing and learning new things about people. That's being true to your own personality. It's part of your spirit. It doesn't matter what the social memes are. Like, oh my gosh, like how maybe we shouldn't go there. I have a friend of mine, and it's so funny. I have no problem asking for the seat that I want to sit in the restaurant, because I don't want to be underneath a television or wherever it is. And I think it's okay. And on Sunday I went out to brunch, and it's a wonderful place in an antique store, and they have tables up. It's a tea room. They have all kinds of wonderful food, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to be seated with strangers that you don't know, because they have limited space, and they try to fill up and make sure that everybody can be served. And it's great, but I know some people who don't enjoy that. You would enjoy that. You would shine, and that's part of your genuineness. And I think that that's really being true to who you are. That's being authentic. I don't know if you know the story of Walt Disney, and I love the story about him, because when he was in grade school, he would draw And on his drawings, he would draw pictures of flowers, and they would have faces. And his teacher said, honey, those are really nice flowers, but they don't have faces. And he said, well, mine do. Mine do.
I love it. Sure.
And, in a lot of things in my world, they have hearts and flowers, and there's lots of bright colors and not a lot of white walls, and maybe things that might not wouldn't consider matching in a house, but they all kind of come together. I find a common color, and I kind of just throw it all together, and it works. In my world, it works, and I think that's really part of what it is. I mean, when we live by what we're committed to, our passion, we do what we say we're going to do. We own our truth of who we are. I'm the first person to admit that I'm a little quirky. I like things to be bright. I like things to be comfortable. I like a lot of pillows. I have this lovely obsession with comfortable linens. When I get into bed, I want to be comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I agree with you.
It's just part of who I am, part of my authenticity.
I can come straight out and tell our audience that luxury is not something to be shunned. Luxury for you can mean any number of different things. However, for you, it's luxury linens. You like to make sure that when you're laying in bed, you're incredibly comfortable. To somebody else, with me, it's luxury in shoes and suits or blazers or shirts or whatever it is that if I'm putting something on my body, I want it to be comfortable. I want it to resonate with me more than anything else. And I can tell I know what doesn't resonate with me. I'm not a plaid guy. Okay, I'm not wearing plaid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wearing tartan.
No, I can't imagine you in plaid.
It's just not going to be something that I'm going to be putting on. It just doesn't resonate with me, right? Paisley, I don't resonate with Paisley. And so all the squiggliness, it's kind of cool for some people, but not me. I've always shied away from that just naturally, right? Not to say that I don't like bright colors or cool patterns and interesting things. I do. And so I can tell when I see something and I go, oh, I like that. That resonates with me. I want that. I mean, where do you get that? Where do you get that from? Because I know that it's really awesome. And I know I'll feel excellent. I'll feel amazing in it. And for someone like myself, and I encourage people all the time to be confident. So how do you develop a confidence? The confidence to go out and actually sit down at a bar, which is where I sit 99.9% of the time. I'll sit at a bar, even if there's no one there now. I know that there's somebody who will either sit next to me or whatever. The bar is the one place, and it's interesting because Carol Collins talked about this in her class week before last with the teacher.
And also on our show, absolutely.
Yeah, in our show. Yes, actually, that is where it happened. She was talking about sitting at the bar and how our listeners can go back to Connect to Love podcast archives and just catch a couple of shows ago and catch this particular episode with Carol Collins, which is really, and the teachers, it's really fabulous. The only place you're really going to meet people is the only time you're going to meet people is when you're in a place where it's permissible to do so. And like she was saying, I mean, I have been sitting at a table and actually somebody made a comment, and maybe I inserted myself in that conversation because I can do that, in a very cool little sort of way. I just kind of make a comment or whatever. But I can always sense when it's not the right time to say anything. So, but most of the time it's sitting at the bar. I'll sit at the bar, and I'll have a little something to bite to eat. Samuel and I go sit at a bar, and we have met some of our best friends now in life by sitting in a restaurant and finding out about people. It's the place where you have permission to actually communicate with people in a restaurant. Right. So even in the most highbrow restaurant, we'll go sit at the bar, and watch the chefs prepare with love, watch them put things together, talk to the sous chef or the chef himself, say a couple things, and, compliment those things that you really liked. Let them know. And if you go to a place, we have a favorite place that we go to, and we have gotten to know some of the staff. 4 or 5 of the staff. And now we've started to get together outside the restaurant once a month on a Sunday when they're not working. And we get together and share food and fellowship and just laugh and stories and all kinds of things away from the restaurant. And it's actually, we do it once a month, and it's really quite fabulous. It's really a wonderful time. And then when we go into the restaurant, we have, people that we have a hierarchy of people that we ask to service every time we go in there, and it's so much fun. We get to find out what they were doing, and when they came back from their vacations, what they did, and they texted us and sent us pictures, and it was just, it's wonderful. Connection is with other living beings, other human beings, is an amazing thing. And to do it, though, you really want to be authentic as possible. You don't want to give somebody else the impression that you're something that you're not. That just doesn't make any sense.
100%.
Sooner or later, you will have to be you, And so I make it a point, and I started doing this about 40 years ago, never talk politics, never talk religion, because those things involve beliefs that are, people become different people when they talk about those two subjects, and they're not really, what I find is there's a lot of thought viruses that are being espoused, when you've been told something by somebody you respect, it may not necessarily be true, it may not be factual, you may not believe in it, and all of a sudden you find yourself literally preaching to somebody about who they should be or what they should do, and that's not your place to do that to people. You've got
no, and I don't think that's really being authentic, Michael. I mean, I think that when you said it very well, because you said you have a knowingness of when to interject in a conversation. That's self-awareness. And I believe that self-awareness has a lot to do with being authentic. You can hide your true self from other people, but when you're being authentic, you don't have to worry about that. And I when you were speaking, it reminded me of that movie, Just Go With It. I don't know if you saw that with Adam Sandler and Jennifer Aniston. And
awesome movie.
He was, awesome. He is hurt in his relationship. I don't want to spoil the movie, but he ends up not getting married, and he takes the wedding ring and he ends up putting it on in a bar, and this girl gloms onto him because she's like, you're not hitting on because you're married. And he finds that it works for him until he finds somebody that he really likes. But he is so far removed from being his authentic self that he doesn't even know how to navigate back to that. And I think that that's really where, you're being authentic means you have integrity. You do the right thing. You don't second-guess yourself. You know who you are. You know what you do. You know what you believe in. And everything aligns just absolutely perfectly in that regard. And I think there's one of the exercises that I really love is working with the I am. If you just write down and take a piece of paper and write at the top, I am, and think about your gifts. Think about your blessings. I am witty. I am happy. I am joyful.
Perfect.
I am knowledgeable about power tools.
Yeah.
What did you say? Perfect. I am perfect. Yeah.
I'm perfect. It's one of the things that, people don't consider themselves to be perfect. Perfection, I've always said, is a moving target, because every day your idea of perfection shifts and changes with new information, new experiential wisdom. However, there's nothing wrong with actually being perfect as you are right now, and believing that perfection exists. You are that perfection, no matter who you are. Our society, unfortunately, doesn't consider people that have 4 limbs, or think like they do, or have dyslexia or whatever to be perfect, because you're not like this. Interestingly enough, everyone is perfect as they are. Everyone. And when you start to say, my life is perfect, I am perfect, my health is perfect, everything, you're literally reinforcing that, and that's what you manifest. is that perfection. And you do it by your words, how you talk about yourself and your life. And
absolutely,
it's powerful stuff. It's so powerful. I was talking to my girlfriend about it at lunch today, that these nuances of self-talk now that I am becoming more and more aware of. And I got 2 self-talk books out, and I'm talking about the basics of speaking positively about yourself and certain things you don't want to, things you want to avoid saying. And now that's kind of blossomed into a PhD in understanding what self-talk is, from every little nuance, that when you talk about yourself in a very positive way, in a positive light, yourself and your life, and what you're experiencing in a positive way, it begets more of that positivity. It begets more of it. And that's what you want. You want more positive. And the same thing happens when you talk about yourself in a negative way. You're going to manifest that experience by doing the same thing. You're going to get more of what you talk about and think about. So why not literally begin to take absolute control of your own thoughts and feelings and life experience? What you actually, what comes to you, and some people when I say that one thing, are like, their eyes glaze over. It's like, no, how can that happen? It can't happen, and it can't happen because I tell them, well, one of the things holding you back is that word "can't." That's what holds you back. And think about all the things that you doubt, that you think aren't possible, and how often you focus on those things not being possible for you. Maybe in your position, financially or relationship-wise or whatever, you're thinking, no, that can't happen. It's something with your kids. It's everything is possible. Why not start designing your life instead of just living it? Is what I used to say. I think it's titled my second self-talk book, How to Design Your Life One Day at a Time. That is what you do. You do it without even understanding how to do it. But once you understand how to do it, it makes life much more interesting, because now you're taking a more active role in your own reality that you're creating. And that role is hands-on versus hands-off. I'll just, let things happen. I'll talk about myself any way I darn well please, and I'll end up with whatever comes to me. And I keep saying, you've got a lot more control than that. You've got like the nth degree of control. All you have to do is just literally take hold of it. And authenticity is a huge part of that. Being authentic in every way. I love what you said about integrity. And I would say, ask yourself a question. How much do you know about yourself? What do you believe in? What is, and where did those beliefs come from? More than anything else. Because a lot of the beliefs that people have in their life right now have come from somebody outside of them or something outside of them. It may not be right. It may not be factual. It may not even be appropriate for them. However, they're following someone. They've been told something by someone that they respected, somebody, an authority figure, and sometimes in their most impressionable time in life, and that has stuck with them. We have to be willing to break away from that. We have to be willing to embrace new information that can help us live a happier, more healthy, a more connected life with other people. And now more than ever, we need that. We need that connection with other people. We need to get away from what I call a stadium of beliefs. When you go to a football stadium and there's two teams playing, and there's one side dressed in purple and the other side dressed in orange. By the way, those are just arbitrary colors. I don't want to say I'm referring to a particular team. However, you have a certain set of beliefs that you've been told to have about that team that you're rooting for. And you've been told to have a set of beliefs about the other team that you're not rooting for. You've been told that. Is there any difference to you? They're all humans, right? You're all a bunch of people. You're 100,000 people in a stadium. However, because you have this belief that you've been told by the sports pundits, and now it's 24/7 sports punditry. that's going on, and news punditry and everything else, it's very, very challenging to actually come back to the root of who you are. What are your own beliefs? And examine those beliefs and whether or not those beliefs are valid for you, or whether there's something that somebody inserted into your mental psyche, you adopted it as your own, and there you go. You know, I mean, I've seen people change. I've seen people go from being having racist tendencies to embracing everyone almost overnight, because somebody blew their experience blew all those thought viruses that they had been acting under and thinking under for so long right out of the water. Just literally blew them up. They had no more validity. And they're going, oh, wow, that is kind of ridiculous that I was thinking that way. Wow, what was I thinking? I wasn't. I was thinking, I was actually acting on somebody else's thoughts.
Right.
Well,
you know, and I think it has a lot of times, too, and when you were talking, Michael, it's like what no longer serves you. Do these beliefs no longer serve you? And I think about education, and I laugh because of, like, new math. Like, what is new math? It has to be done a certain way. There was a belief that math had to be done a certain way, and then somebody came up with another idea about it. And, you know, and I think back when I was in grade school, they would arrange us from the tallest to the shortest. Like, something was completely out of somebody's control, and it's such a strange thing. So then the tall people got a complex because they were too tall, and the short people, you know, oh, I need to be taller. Oh, geez, I wish I was shorter. And instead of just being who you were, because there's nothing that you can do about it. There's absolutely nothing you can do about the height that you have. And in regards to a lot of different things. Now, there are things that you can change about yourself, and as you start to discover, you know, who you are and what your purpose is and what you're passionate about, and you sort of discover your own courage of conviction and say, you know what? Yeah, I get that our whole family did it this way, but I don't think so. You know, if you want to see me as the black sheep, then, or the green sheep, or whatever sheep it is, you know, and just, I want to do things my way. And
yes, those labels are inherently, in my view, dangerous. They really are. They're dangerous to developing your own sense of self and your own authenticity in life. Right now, we live in a world where people want to tell you who you can be. Who you can be. There's a power structure that wants to tell you who you can be, right? You're just another human being. You're doing your own thing. What is it to you? This is the thing I always say. What does it matter what they do? Where does this emanate from? It emanates from a sense of beliefs that other people want to impress upon other people. They want to control other people, and they want to do it through the law, which is the legal system, and through peer pressure and other means to get people to change, because they believe that is inherently negative, that's inherently bad. And I'm sitting there saying, you know, I don't try to tell people how to play their game of golf unless they ask. And then I won't get down on the way that they play golf. I'll simply say things that can enhance their game, right? I'm not here to criticize what you do. I'm here to say, well, if you did that, you might have a better result. You know, maybe practice that next time you get out. After I observe somebody and they ask me, what do you think about my play today? You know, I'll just say, here's where, bottom line, you were awesome. Here's how you can improve. You know, but I mean, there's something that you sent a link to me, Pam Gregory's one of her latest videos, and I thought it was so amazing the way that she encapsulated what we've been talking about here on the show, what I've been talking about on my own Life Moves podcast, and what we I know believe in our hearts up to this particular point in time. We're in a reality that is people are living a reality that's derived from outside themselves, and it needs to be derived from inside of you, you know, in your head, because we get more of what we focus on. If we focus on fear and greed and hate and all these things, they all emanate from attempting to control someone else, to get them to believe what you believe, to get them to act the way you act. This is not reality. That's not reality. Individuals can be individuals. They don't have to be, everybody thinks differently. Attempting to make someone else be something that there aren't, it doesn't promote connectedness. It promotes division, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole idea is that the strife and the hatefulness that's going on in the world today, in her view, she simply says, life is not trying to control what unfolds outside of us. And this is what everybody attempts to do. Mm-hmm. Control everything outside of you. And what that emanates from, we can take 100 different guesses, right? Infinite number of reasons why people attempt to, it could be because they don't feel good about themselves, because somebody told them to do so, because they're acting under a multiple layers of thought viruses that they've been introduced to and accepted as their own. However, we can set the intention to live from inside of ourselves through empowerment and through sovereignty. That we can do. And that's what we have control over. And when we become interconnected on a higher level, a lot of this strife and hate and grief will simply go away, because it won't be supporting, right now it's supporting a power structure. There are in our society, in our world, there are people who, and organizations and others that have it's their agenda to take power, to control other people. And we have to be strong enough to resist that. And our authenticity thrives when we're able to resist the outside messages that want us to be a certain way. Mm-hmm. So yep. It's an interesting. The video is pretty awesome.
I loved it because she said, my neighbors don't even know what I do. She said, I think they read Hello magazine and watch Netflix all the time.
Yeah. Hello is their version of People. So it's the UK's version of People. And it's true.
But it was delightful for me to hear her say that, because here she's such a wonderfully authentic person, and she found her passion in astrology, and she shares her wisdom about what she knows about the stars. But not only that, she has a very voracious appetite for learning something new and connecting with people like Veda Austin, who does water, and Michael Tellinger, One Small Town, and all of these curiosities. But the driving force that makes Pam so authentic is her connection to love, and that being what she wants. Love, yeah. And bringing more and more and more in that. And I really respect her for that. And I don't know, there was a woman, Bonnie Ware, she was a hospice nurse, who wrote a book called The Top 5 Regrets of Dying. And the number one regret people said on their deathbed was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me.
There you go.
And there you go, in a nutshell.
Controlling your life, yeah.
Yep, and Pam does not do that. Many of the people that you and I connect with, and maybe it's the vibration, maybe it's the frequency, maybe it's, gosh, I wish I would have known Disney as a child, being able to see his vision grow from drawing little smiley faces on his flowers to Fantasia, where everything was animated and alive. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a good metaphor for life. I mean, if you could animate your life and make all that is burning inside of you, the truth of who you are, come to be, that to me is being authentic and really living it. And it works.
It is.
So I'm sure when Pam was in school and she said, I want to grow up and I want to become an astrologer, and people look at her, that's like really dumb. How are you going to make a living doing that? Obviously,
or they just dissed astrology.
Right.
Instead of what you want to do because it wasn't part of the social norm. It's pretty amazing. When my brother did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, when he was, 16, He did that play in Turkey, and that playing Linus in that play literally was the catalyst for him going on to do other plays and actually decide to go study acting in college. And he did. He did several plays. He learned about it. He went to a university that specialized in theater, and he learned all the chops and things about behind stage and all that kind of stuff. And then he came back to California, and he said he was in California. We were playing some music for a couple of years, and he said, "All right," he says, my goal is to be an actor. There's only one place that happens. That's Hollywood, and I need to go down there and make this happen for me. I believe in myself, and I can do this." And my mother said, "Okay, I'll make it easy on you. I'll take the pressure of rent off you. Find an apartment just for you. Nothing extravagant and expensive, but an apartment that you can live in for a couple of years, and I'll pay the rent for 2 years for you, so you don't have to worry about paying rent. And I'll pay your utilities. So you can take the car down there, you can have a place to live, and you can go ply your trade, go figure it out." And, oh gosh, that was back in 1981. So to today, his resume history is his IMDb list is huge. And what's interesting is, to his credit, he's remained authentic all the way through this. He lives in West Hollywood, but he has not adopted any of the West Hollywood behavior, egomaniacal behaviors, and drugs and all that craziness. He has not done that. He's literally been his authentic self to this day. And I really love him for that, and appreciate the fact that he is that beacon of authenticity, as he lives it every single day. He doesn't engage in the behavior that a lot of people get swept up in that environment, which is, you got to be like, I got to be like Mike. I got to be like somebody else. I've got to be like this. I've got to act like this. I've got to go to the right parties. I've got to meet, the right people and smooth with the right people in order to do things. Nope. None of that. I've got to have a rich, fancy, expensive sports car and all that. And, no, none of that. Just a basic, everyday individual living in a house just like anybody else, owns his own house. But I've always appreciated that. And, I mean, it's so easy. I've known people I've talked to people who've had to leave that environment. They've had to move outside of it. They still work in it.
Sure.
But they've had to move hundreds of miles away, and they just get on a plane and come to work when they need to come to work.
Right, because they've probably lost track of who they really were.
Exactly.
I mean, I would imagine that's exactly what it is. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's so true. Now you think about social media and influencers today. Influencers are thriving, like the Kardashians and others. They're probably some of the top influencers out there. But there are many influencers that around the world that are just the word influencer. You could substitute, somebody who spreads thought viruses, because that's really what they do. They tell you that this is the best thing and this is what you should be doing, and you go and follow it and you do it yourself. Now, if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel happy, if it's fun for you, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it,
right.
Because that's what the teachers always say. Make life fun. Do things that make you happy. Do things because they are fun to do. Because fun is what life is supposed to be. Things that bring you joy. Fun, joy, happiness. That's what life is all about. And I say to people all the time, I say, why are you doing that thing you don't like? Oh, because it pays the bills. Really? My gosh. I don't know. Maybe you could. What would you rather be doing? If you didn't have to pay the bills, what would you rather be doing? And they tell me something, and I go, well, do you do that anyway? No, I had to give it up because I had, a couple of kids and whatever. And I'm going, okay, great. Why can't you just dabble in it on the side? Do you understand how that joy and fun and happiness that you get from doing that thing, that hobby that you really love, that makes you feel fulfilled in life, contributes to the rest of your life? Do you have any idea about that one? And they go, oh, I don't think about that. That's kind of interesting. It is. That's why it's important to pay attention to those things that you resonate with, those things that bring you joy. Pay attention. You having fun doing this? Do more of it. You happy doing this? Feel good about life? You feel life is perfect, life is amazing, life is magnificent, it's fabulous, it's spectacular? Yeah, do more of that. Do more of that. You know,
I think it's a great way to find, to kind of fine-tune and figure out who your authentic self is. And just because you figure it out doesn't mean it can't evolve, it can't change. I look back, you think about what your personal values were when you were in elementary school, and then, in high school, and then beyond. And those evolve and they change. And the way you sort of say, okay, well, this works for me, doesn't work for me, and you explore. And I think that that's part of what it's all about. You figure it out little bit by little bit. You have love and compassion for yourself. You forgive yourself along the way, and you go, oh, yeah, well, you know what, self-correct. That may not have been, but my life is perfect. I'm loving on this. I'm trying this. Breathe in deep and just keep refining and experience what it means to you.
And question. Why do I have to do that again? Why do I have to be that way? Somebody says, oh, you need to be. No, why? Do I have to be that way? Does that resonate with me? Does this make me feel good when I even think about it? Does it make my body tingle? Does it put a smile on my face? Those kinds of decisions. And I went through a phase, and that kind of led to where I am right now, where I decided that I was going to turn down anything that didn't resonate with me. People say, "Oh, let's go do this thing." Nah, no, I prefer to do something else. It's not. I wouldn't say I don't want to. That's not what you want to say, because that eludes that somebody else is wanting you to do something that you don't necessarily want to do. It's about a control issue. So better prefer to say I prefer to do something different. I do. I prefer to see a different movie. Instead of that slasher flick you want to see, I prefer to see that one. Instead. That's my preference. And by stating that, you're being your authentic self. Knowing that the other movie will make you happy, one will promote fear and all those other lower level emotions, and the other will elevate you. It will lift you up, make you feel good, make you feel like you do anything. And you have that right to do so.
Absolutely.
That's being authentic.
And it was interesting because in the class last night with Carol Collins, I was a participant in the class who brought up the fact that her husband likes to watch violence in their bedroom, and she's not comfortable with that. And it was very interesting to see what the guide said and had many suggestions. First of all, I'm not a fan of a TV in the bedroom anyway, but that's me being authentic. I think, and the guide said, well, there's other things that you can do in the bedroom. But, it was interesting because you could see that it made her uncomfortable in order to keep peace and harmony. But there are things that sometimes you have to kind of put your foot down and put your own truth, especially in your relationship. And it may be not a comfortable conversation, but you can come to a peaceful resolution where you can both be happy and really, you do it out of love. Like this is our sacred space. I would just like to just invite more of that lovingness, that close relationship that we want to develop and be open and honest. And I think that that's part of what it means to be authentic to yourself. And it's,
You agree? I agree wholeheartedly. It's interesting. I like architecture, so unlike you, I'm a whole lot. I got 7 TVs in the house, but only one is on at a time. But I have one in my office, and it's not on that often, unless I decide that I want to catch something that I know is uplifting to me, like watch a soccer game with a specific player or team or whatever. I'll watch some of the Olympic Games or some of the World Cup or whatever, or I'll watch something that's educational, some Nat Geo, something that is a program that enlightens me with regard to the planet and its various phases or whatever. And on occasion, I'll catch the weather in some place that I'm looking to go to. And there's and right now, my girlfriend and I are on a Christmas movie binge on Netflix and and Amazon Prime and others. There's
and they make you feel good. I do the same.
Oh my gosh, we binge them now. We watch 2 a night at least of these really cool, either from Hallmark or something else. But they're all on Netflix. They got this whole row of Christmas movies, that you can that you can watch. And we're recycling. We're watching movies that we watched last year again. Because they are so awesome. Because they're about love, they're about kindness, they're about authenticity.
They are. There was one on Hallmark called The Town That Everyone Forgot. And what a it replayed again last night on the Hallmark Channel on Roku. And it was such a heartwarming movie about, people coming from New York City, and they had their lives and what they were. And here was a salt-of-the-earth town that really were hardworking people, but in a disadvantaged place because there was no tourism. There was nothing there, and a lot of businesses closed up. And it was about, again, finding that truth. And the people that I would advise everybody watching it. I don't want to ruin the movie, but it really was a good reminder for me about going back to your roots and being who you are. Not what you were perceived to be in a large city. Who are you?
I'm going to say this only, that everything you're saying is absolutely correct, and it starts us. We're born authentic. We're born authentic individuals, and then somehow the world and society shapes us into who we are at any given point in time. And hopefully we're open to change, to evolve, to evolution of who we are. However, we have to. If I had one wish, if I had one of 3 wishes from a genie, one of them would be to literally change the educational system so that children had the opportunity to discover who they are, what their gifts are, what their talents are. I understand the importance of reading. You have to read. Writing, good thing. Now less people are writing, more people are using tablets. They've given up teaching cursive in school anymore, which was integral to really developing your personality, because it was mind to hand, a brain to hand.
Mm-hmm.
And if you write, most people don't know this, but if you write left-handed, it's the creative brain. If your non-dominant hand it puts you in touch with the creative brain, creative side of your brain, and so it's just something that we grow. We're happy, we're curious, we're inventive, we're inspired, and then you get put in school and they want to put you in a little box, and they tell you what to do and when to do it, and tell you what you can't do, and the only things you can do. And before you know it, whatever creativity, inspiration that you had kind of gets drummed out of you because you're now in the quote-unquote system, right? And it was different when I grew up. At least we had, there were periods in school where you could go try shop or woodworking or art or home economics, or you could try sheet metal working. You could try whatever, automotive shop. You could go and participate on the school premises, paid for by the school, okay, something that would allow you to let your creative and inspired juices flow. Let your intentions about creating things, just give them a space to thrive, right? Your creativity places to thrive, and that's something that doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist, and it's unfortunate because the alternative right now, the source of doing that is social media. For a couple of generations right now, social media is the place where you go to develop that. And unfortunately, that doesn't teach connection. It really allows you to be in a box and connect with other people in a sort of an illusionary way. You don't see them face to face. You don't see a smile. You don't. gauge their body language or the tone, learn the tones of people's voices when they speak, and you don't get to look in their eyes, and you don't get to basically look into their hearts, because their stature and their tone is kind of telling you who they are. People can be inauthentic, parading as authentic. And we have to learn as an individual, as human beings, we have to learn how to connect with people and read people and be able to allow our own intuition to come forth and help us understand who is, with us and who's working against our own authenticity. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah, no,
how much time we got left, lady, here on PRNFM?
we have about 2 minutes, and Michael, you got a whole drawer full of jeans. It's your choice every day. What do you get? Which out of those collection of jeans, which one are you going to put on today? And it's sort of that same thing. Every day we have choices that we make, and hopefully you'll choose to be honest about who you are and choose to be self-loving and really let yourself be seen. And every day make that choice. And being in those comfortable pair of jeans and being authentically true to who you are really can make all the difference. And I would encourage everybody to draw smiley faces on their flowers and
right.
know who you are. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll let you just close out the show, Michael.
No, all I want to say is I'm going to go wash my jeans here tonight because they need it. I've got some chocolate stains I discovered on them from something I was eating in the car on the way home. But, treat your jeans with love. They are one of the most authentic items one of the items that contributes most to your authenticity in life, and they go with everything. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Love you all.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Wherever you are in the world listening, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. We're so grateful to each and every one of you who take the time to tune in and share our connection to love. And until next time.
Yes.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
then go to my Instagram and then just follow. Because every day I put a channeled message from one of the non-physical teachers, and then I put it out there, and then I copy it to my Facebook page. So if you see me on Instagram, then follow, because then you get more of that kind of stuff showing up in your news feed. And that
positivity.
Yeah.
Positivity.
Right. It also feels good to, be able to see you guys, because I always put your link on there. And so it's fun. I appreciate you.
I love them. Thank you. Appreciate you joining us.
Michael saves them, and I save them, and I read them, and I anchor them in. I say them out loud, and grateful for adding to the positivity to my grid for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I'll say ciao.
Ciao.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Yeah, so invite our friends to go to americasmedium.com, and please, if you're in Rome, join Carol for dinner.
Find me. Very, very gorgeous.
I would.
Emerald green dress, and you can't miss it. Long blonde hair, emerald green dress.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you all for
And
joining.
big smile.
Absolutely.
Take care, Carol.
All right. Good night, everybody.